This is the Women of Wonder podcast, where we help women tap into their superpowers. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Women of Wonder podcast. I'm Nisha Khare.
I'm Neveu.
And we're so excited to be launching this conversational experience with other women and talking about things that Carly and I think about, that we're like, hey, let's whatever we chat about. And then we think maybe other women would be interested in this too.
Exactly. And for those of you who are new to Women of Wonder, it's our mission to help women tap into their superpowers.
Yes.
So before we dive in today, as long as you're not driving a car, we'd actually like to invite you to close your eyes for a moment. So take a moment to settle in here. If this is new to you, maybe you take a soft gaze. And we'd like to invite you to envision what those superpowers are within you, the ones that you innately have. And don't worry, if you have a hard time bringing something to mind, that's exactly why we're here. A lot of people don't realize what's directly out in front of them. We want you to know that these are always available to you. And over this first season, we're going to share some ideas on how you can tap into your superpowers. Take a big breath. Sigh out the mouth. And let's do this.
Let's do this.
Right? Yes. So Nisha, why are we here?
Why are we here? Well, I think you just helped us get a little sense of why we are here, right? That we want to understand who we are and what's within us. I think we're all so lucky to have amazing gifts, and all of our gifts are different. And those special superpowers that we each hold, those open the doorway to our joy, to our happiness, to connection, not only to self, but connection to each other. So connection to other women, connection to our partners, to our families, to our communities. And I think that's the greater good, right? When we start to do the beautiful work that helps us connect within, then the sky's the limit with connection with others. And beautiful. I feel like you and I found that, right? You and I found that within each other. We found that as we connected with each other, the energy just grew, and we really encourage each other to explore life more, explore who we are, our happiness, and then it just grows.
What superpower have you been tapping into of yours lately?
Oh my gosh, that's a really good question. Okay, so I think that I have been tapping into, it's interesting. It might sound funny, but the superpower of quiet. So even the power of silence and having some alone moments, my mom and a partner, my husband and a daughter. And so busy, always busy and doing things. And then taking moments to quiet down and meditate and not talk and not give directions to anyone, pick that up, clean this up, put away your dishes, no talking sometimes, so that I can tap into whatever it is that wants to come up. And it's even that power of healing right now. I think the healing one is helping me understand, just tapping into the intuition. What's my gut saying I should do? And
wow, that right. Silence then. That silence creates space.
Yeah.
What comes up for you in that space? You said healing. You said time to be.
Yeah, time to be. And when I create that silence, then the thoughts start to come up in my mind of, I just did a healing session on Sunday and got to lie there in the quiet and the beautiful music. And the things that came up in my mind were even the things that maybe I haven't even thought of in years. And like connection to maybe the things that have hurt me or things that I haven't let go of. I saw just before I started my healing session, I was talking to someone and we were sharing what are your signs? And he's like, I'm a Leo. And I was like, oh, my dad was a Leo. And so then in my healing silent moments, my dad came to me, and it was something that maybe sometimes I push away, but it was beautiful to like take a moment and just be with him. And maybe I wouldn't do that if I was so busy otherwise, because my mind is going and thinking of all the to-do list. So the silence has been beautiful for me. And the more I do that, the clearer I get. And the more clear I am, the more calm I am. That's what I'm finding. I'm finding that I become more calm. Not saying I'm calm all the time.
but
my family wouldn't say that I'm not.
That's really interesting, because you said like the more you find silence and that space, the more peaceful and the more that helps support healing, which I think in today's world, we're inundated with, you need to do all of these things to feel better.
Yes, like
and
you have to
you're almost saying the opposite. Yeah,
right.
You're saying the opposite.
That's so funny. It's exactly it. I felt like throughout most of my life that it's been that do more, achieve in order to grow, in order to be better. You got to be better. And I think that even through the work you and I have been doing, a big part of my learning lesson is do less. Less is more. And that what am I trying to race towards? There's no race against myself. Like I am learning to enjoy the journey and be in the moment more. And if there's a constant striving to achieve and do, that is not helpful of like where I'm at in my life right now. But then I've started noticing over the last week, I was like, oh, well, I was saying to myself, when I am healed, I will be good. When I'm healed, I'll be good. However, then I had to like check myself and say, yo, that's not that, like, there is no when you're healed. I will never be fully healed. I don't think there is such a thing. It's that I'm just doing the healing work. And so instead of trying now to strive for, maybe it's not an achievement in work, but an achievement in healing, I'm not going to get a gold star for being fully healed because there is no such thing. And so just appreciating that the whole journey is healing. And it's healing because even if I heal the wounds from my last 46 years, I am still going to be getting more pain in. It's not like life doesn't offer more pain. It's like pain and joy and healing and all of it mixed together. So that was a good kind of lesson, I would say, that's coming from my healing. And how about you, Carly? Like I'm seeing, okay, I want to kind of say that when I'm seeing you doing the work and you tapping into your superpowers, like first I'll let you answer what you think. Like, what are your superpowers that are coming out?
Oh, no, thank you for sharing that. And I feel like there's a lot to, unpack in this like healing realm, and even people saying like, I'm doing the work. Like, what does that mean? What does doing the work mean? And does that also insinuate that there's something wrong with you versus, doing that work intentionally is also something that provides you that it's showing that you love and care about yourself and you want to support yourself. And I think that through my journey and probably like the last 4 or 5 years, I've also shifted from that like performance oriented must do, and there's still some of that in there, and it helps me get some work done.
Right. Like going from like professional athlete mindset, achieve to be the top, be the best.
And now learning to live in the void a bit more, and learning how to be and learning how to really enjoy that. And I think what I thought were my superpowers before also have translated well into this kind of new chapter of life, which for me is like a sense of, and I just met some new friends last week, and what they said to me was, "You're so calm. You're so grounded." And I was like, I don't think anyone's ever said that to me. I mean, maybe, but that's like
Carly,
not
someone
what
just
I
said that to me 3 days ago too. And I was like, this is so funny. Maybe it's
like,
working.
maybe
The
it's
work is
working.
working.
I'm like, I feel calm and it allows me to be more present. And I think
Mm,
back, I'm like, I thought I was a good listener. I
yeah.
thought I was someone who was really present, but I also realized that I was always trying to finish people's sentences. I was always trying to jump to a solution. I was always trying to give feedback. And now I'm just realizing that that's not what it's all about. Like, to give space to someone to talk and to just feel seen, it's such a fulfilling opportunity. So I feel like that's where I'm leaning towards now, and realizing that maybe I thought I could just like talk my way through a situation, but it's more about the listening side, and
Mm.
realizing how much I can absorb and learn from seeing the world around me and listening to other people talk and their perspectives. So that's been, yeah, like an evolution, and still figuring out exactly what that means. And definitely also having fun, like having fun, infusing joy
Yeah.
into even the simple things in life. I think if I think back to myself as a small child, and I know my mom will agree with this, I just wanted to go around and dance and sing and talk to people and mannequins and whoever would respond. So yeah, I'm just want to tap into that again.
Oh, it's so amazing. And I agree. I think that seeing you even over this time of, these like past years, and how you are an amazing listener and you are opening the space for whatever may be to enter, that is inspiring. And the way that you bring joy into everything you're doing and the fun, like we're always like, we can't forget about the fun. We have to have fun while we do this. Like, no matter what it is, we want to do the deep work. We're going to ensure that whatever we're putting on, there's an element of excitement and joy and celebration. And I see that like twinkling in your eyes as we're doing anything.
Like, what can we do to make this more fun? Like,
Can we do?
yes, yes.
And it just
Yeah.
like comes out, the fun comes out. And I think like I also see it in you, the visions, like the vision of let's do something magical, but also you tapping more into your intuition of what does that look like? And it doesn't have to be what everyone else is doing, and it doesn't have to be typical. Like it's not
Mm.
just, okay, well, this is what's been done, so let's do that. No, it's what do we feel? What would make us feel good? Let's do that. And we have no apologies for it. It's just what we're doing because we're bringing joy into our lives and we're putting out happiness and we're putting out love. And so all of that is magical. So let's just do it. And it feels good.
No, thank you. Thank you for saying that, because I agree. And these are maybe themes that if I look back at like 10 years ago, I realized that I was trying to replicate the rules or like the way that I'd seen other people showing up in the world.
Yeah.
And it was like I needed to have someone to look up to and follow their path.
Right.
And it was a pre-paved path.
Yes.
And eventually the path runs into that person and you realize like that's not my path, that's this person's path. And
Yes.
yeah, like that's for me anyways, and I know for you as someone who is a big creator,
Hmm.
this the opportunity to create something that's not been before, or to do something that feels so in alignment with what feels right inside is, I mean, look at Women of Wonder, like these monthly gatherings that we organized when people weren't able to get together in person. We designed it to be something that was supportive of what we needed, but what we also saw other women missing in their life. And we infused that fun and we went deep. We talked about all sorts of topics, and then we're able to celebrate that work and leave on a high note.
Yes.
And like, why can't we do that with everything in life?
Yes.
So
every time we meet with someone, every time we do something, it can have these elements in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is how we feel. Like when we talk to someone, when we meet anyone, whether it be an old friend or a new friend, it's like, let's talk about the real things. Let's talk about what's on our mind. And then let's enjoy our moments together and let's have fun as we're doing it. And I know that you and I talked about like our goals for this year on New Year's. We talked about like, what is it? And we were talking to someone and then we saw something on their arm and it said like level up. And then I think you were like, that's it. That's our theme this year. We're like leveling up. And we were like, yeah,
level up.
Level up. Not sorry. And I liked how you added in the not sorry, because I think there's a lot of saying sorry in life, especially for me, being a female, being a Canadian, being Indian. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, what can I do? How can I help? Or I'm sorry, I couldn't do this. I'm sorry, I couldn't be there. But no, it's like, I'm not sorry. I'm just doing what I can do. And I'm doing my best. And I'm doing what I can to level myself up so I can be my most sparkly self. Because when we're sparkling, you just show up and the whole room can start to sparkle, right? Like when you meet a sparkly person, how do you feel? What changes within you, right? I feel like when I see you, it's like, and happiness, sparkles. And it just changes everything.
And thank you for saying that, because I think that this is what a lot of people need to hear. You know, we have this programming in us that, you know, maybe the generation before us or many generations before us have upheld certain roles and responsibilities within the family, within the community. And we're not saying like, you know, don't be an amazing mother, don't be an amazing partner. Like that's still a critical part. But a friend was even saying this to me this morning. You can't pour from an empty cup. So if you don't fill your cup, if you don't take the time and space to whatever that looks like it's something different for every person. Like what are those moments, walking in the park, having a bath, reading a book, whatever it is that you need to do to just take a bit of space so that when you are present with your family or your community or whoever else in your life, they can really feel like you're there and you're available to them, versus your time is so diluted and there's just not enough space to please everyone and do everything for everyone and to make sure that you're taken care of. So yeah, that's a big one and a big theme I think we hear in a lot of our gatherings too.
Really big theme. I think that could be like a whole topic on itself. We could just talk about like pleasing others. We could talk about perfectionism. We can talk about, you know, wanting to achieve things. Like there's so many interesting topics and we just can get bogged down by these like ideas of who we should be and how we should be. And I think that's why we're talking and why we're going to be talking to so many different women to find out like, what do you do to still be a good human, but ensure that you feel good as you're presenting as a good human, right? Like that's the point. It's not the point to just make sure everyone's happy with you and that you're checking all the boxes and you're doing all the good things, but are you feeling good as you do them? Like, are you feeling good as you're doing these important things? Because if you don't feel good, which I've spent many years not feeling good, then what's the point? So I don't want to go through life like that. And I feel like other women don't want to, or might not even know they don't have to go through life like that. We can help others and most importantly, help ourselves first.
Right.
Because if we feel good, then everyone starts to feel better around us. Like you said, if we're not feeling good and we're showing up, no one's going to really enjoy the energy anyhow.
And how can women support each other on that journey?
Oh, such a good question, right? Like, how can women, well, I feel like even in the interactions that we have, right? It's like, okay, so what are you reading right now? Oh, I read this and this helped me in this way. And even just talking about it is an uplift. Having a perspective on things that really impact us day to day changes things. So this morning I did a 6 a.m. Kundalini yoga class with
Nice.
Paprika Marika. So with Marika, and it was online. And how did I even come to doing that? Because you were doing a Kundalini class online. And then you were like, hey, have you tried this? I've been doing this. It's cool. And you didn't say you should do this. You have to do this. No, because then I probably would have shut off and been like, I can't. And
Yeah.
instead, I was like, you know what? You're right. That would be cool. And then maybe you sent me a link. You're like, hey, this is a cool one. And I'm like, I can do this. And you're like, you can do this. And then I do it. And if I don't do it, it's fine. If I do it, it's great. And then I do feel better. Right. So even just sending each other ideas, talking about things, encouraging each other, being honest. I think being able to be honest with, I just can't do anything right now. And having a support around you, like other amazing women. And I think that's like the whole point of why we started Women of Wonder, right? It's so that we could have a community of women that are being honest with each other, talking about the real topics, because we'll bring in different topics that maybe you wouldn't talk to even your best friends about, because you don't even think about it. And then suddenly you feel supported and heard. And then you feel like I'm more tapped into who I'm meant to be.
And you're not alone.
And you're not alone. Great point. Being alone and going through life alone is hard. It's isolating. Like I'm actually going to say that I came to an epiphany of ultimately in life, I am alone. Okay. So ultimately in life, I just have me and that's all I need. And so not needing or wanting anything or anyone else, that's a good base because you have you and you are amazing as you are. But the bonus is a cool girlfriend here, a kind, wise girlfriend here, having fun with the girls, having fun with each other, with the community, with your partners, with your kids. Then all of that is like filling your heart in a different way. Like, how do you feel when we get together with all the women for Women of Wonder and we start to connect?
Oh, it is a pretty, it was something that I didn't even recognize growing up. Like, I think I saw like, my sister, my friends, my mother, like all these people, I'm like, they're there. Like, I feel that support from them. I have relationships with them. But I hadn't fully opened myself up to what happens when they all come together. And like even some of the events with my mom and my sister and people like you in the same room, like, well, yeah, just being able to share and create a space where, people are very vulnerable, they're open, they are, able to just quickly connect in a way that you start to explore parts of yourself. Like you said, like, yeah, I can sit at home and journal and really go deep on my own, but people bring out other things and new perspective that you might not have got to on your own. And that dynamic and that energy, like there's something to be said about, especially in person, like that event that we had, we were sitting on the floor, you were leading everyone through a meditation, and I could feel vibrations through my whole body. Like that is like a very real experience. And it's like going to a dance class or a yoga class or something in person, or being at a dance, or being out, like for me, even being in New York City, sitting on the train, sometimes I look around and like, I am a human in this giant train, in this world floating around, and I'm not alone. I might not be talking to these people, but there's a sense of connection, for me anyways, to the people around me. So yeah, like, and women are storytellers. We pass advice and experience down through stories. So
Mhm.
without having a place to share and explore these themes, especially different generations, people that are mothers or not, people that are early in their careers or retiring. Like, there's so much that we can learn together. So I'm very grateful for Women of Wonder and other women in my life too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I feel that. I feel like even going back to our event when we had like all the women in person, even just somebody said like walking into the room, the energy was already like elevated. And what created that? It was all of us. It was a collective of all the women in the room coming in with open hearts, not knowing what we're really going to do.
Right.
We're like, just come. It will be cool.
Yes.
Thank you for trusting us. But sharing that energy and the love, and just knowing that you're in a safe space where people care about each other, even people who don't know each other, because we've just set it up so that everyone can connect. And then having moments within yourself and then being able to share it out, that is creating community and the love and the energy. And like even you doing movement with all of us and us all in unison, even those who don't like moving are moving.
Especially those people. So
especially those people feeling like
yeah.
they actually really needed that. And so us exploring what is it that we need as humans, and then going out and learning different practices and seeing what feels good in our life, and then sharing it with other women and people and humans to say, hey, do you want to try this? We tried it. I liked it. It was cool. Maybe it's not for you. Maybe it's not for me. But like, if we try it, something's going to work. Something's going to shift. And it's not like, we talked about this. We're not trying to make people's lives like better. Like, you're not broken. We're not trying to fix you. We're not trying to fix ourselves because we're great as we are. It's that we're just opening to more things and like calming the nervous system and elevating the happiness. Right. So we are already great, but let's lift and energize and calm and all the good things that we maybe don't do on a regular basis because we just take them for granted, that we forget how good those things feel. And when we're tapped in and we feel good, we show up.
Yeah.
We show up real. We show up authentically. Less
Very
of a mask,
true.
right?
Less of a mask. And I like that you shared that as well. Like we explore and we share things once we've experienced them and we see what works for us.
Yeah.
And we're not expecting everyone to want to go out and take all the classes and read all the books and work with all the teachers. Like, some people are very content with where they're at. And I think for us, it's an opportunity to share this formula that has worked in our lives to help us calm down, to help us create that space, and then to celebrate and to just appreciate what has happened in front of us. And I think feedback that we have, I mean, our own experience, we could speak about that, but feedback that we have is that people really notice those shifts when they've just taken the space to intentionally, which I think that's the big part here. Like, if you're going through and you're trying to check off all the lists and you're expecting things to all of a sudden be different in your life, but you haven't done it in a way that's really focused on the why. Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Because you feel like you have to do this, or because you want to do this and it's an offering to yourself.
Yes.
So I think that connection, like when you start to realize that the intention behind the way that we show up in this world is also then what people are going to be responding to, because you're taking that initiative to take care of yourself because you love yourself. And like you said, the healing never ends. Like, we're on this forever journey and there's no rush. So what can you be doing maybe a little bit every day to just incrementally feel that connection to self and the why behind this whole purpose of being here. So, well, Nisha, this has been a fantastic conversation, and I'm so excited to be kicking this off with you. I know we have a lot of incredible stories and women that we've been connected with, and really that's why we're here. We want to share the impact that they're making on their communities around the world,
Yes.
the work that they're doing, how they've gone to be where they are today. So tune in for more of that.
And share with people. If you think this is something that would be interesting to someone, please share with your loved ones, because we want to grow our community and tap into all the amazing women and people out there. And so we're also doing a couple of retreats coming up in person. One is going to be for women in an exciting place, and one will be for couples, because we can't just do the work alone. So we want the couples to rise together and have some beautiful connection moments and increase their flow of communication and energy and happiness and fun. So more to come. And
I love it.
Yeah, we just want to do more work where we appreciate other women.
And yes, for those of you watching the video, I did change my background.
The joys of tech.
Thank you for joining us. Keep tapping into your superpowers and come along with us to meet other women who are inspiring us to do the same. We'll see you next time.
See you next time. Sending love out to everybody.